Offensive coordinator Brad Glenn, and then Dante Corleone. Coach, if you could start us off with an opening statement.
Yeah, I think just first of all, I'm excited about getting ready to start spring practice. For a lot of reasons, but obviously first time here. Our guys have been working really hard this offseason in the winter program. Coach Nico and his staff done a great job. I've seen a lot of gains in the weight room. A lot of guys' weights have changed, which is good to see. Changed their bodies. We'll finish that up tomorrow, and then we get to see what guys can do football-wise. We've seen them lift and run around, but throw some pads on and let's see them hit and see how they can make plays with actual playing some football. We've talked about this, but we had 13 transfers come in midterm. We had 7 high school players come in midterm. So we do have some turnover on this team from last year. So that'll be interesting to see how those guys fit in with the guys that have been here. Also, really looking forward to the competition that we're going to have at every position. We've told the guys when we got here, we told them, I have to remind them again yesterday, that every position is up for grabs. I don't care if you've started 4 years. Where every position is up for grabs. It's going to make everybody compete and work hard. If you had a starting position to be able to continue that on in your career, or somebody may come to try to get your job, which I think it's healthy for a program to be able to have that. Couple notes on some guys. Ben Bryant has been participating in weights as well as some of the things we've been doing on the field. He is well ahead in his progression, coming off of his surgery in the fall. He will not be 100% starting spring practice, but we anticipate once we get back from spring break that he's going to be close to 100%. So, which will be great. I'm happy for him. He's done a great job, and our training staff has done a great job of getting him back ready to go. So, we'll be able to get some good looks at him. Ryan Montgomery's coming back from his minor surgery, and so he'll be limited starting practice as well. And I hadn't really addressed this, but Keyshawn Helton, he will not be able to participate. Had an injury, had a hip injury, and does not get cleared medically, so will not be doing anything this spring. And then we finish out April 15th with our spring game. Looking forward to seeing everybody come out for that. Hopefully we'll feel nippered up and be able to see progression we've made since we've gotten here. So that'll be fun, April 15th, and hopefully the weather will be great for that as well. So with that, just open it up for questions.
Coach, how important are these first 3 days where you're able to get everything on tape and then you've got a week for spring break to kind of go back over it? Do you plan to use that as kind of a test run and then reevaluate over the next week and come back?
Yeah, I think first 2 days were just helmets, so it's kind of really, it's hard to see exactly, it's not true football, particularly when you look at offensive defensive lines. You can't really get a feel for the pad and popping pads until that third day. So that third day we'll put the shoulder pads on, which will be great to see. It's really going to be, for us, implementing offense, defense, and doing some special team drill work in those first 3 practices. Really base fundamental stuff, trying to get guys lined up and doing the things that we're asking them to do fundamentally, and who can grasp it mentally. I think that's going to be the big question for me to get answered, is mentally who can handle what we're trying to put onto them, offense, defensively in particular, and in what positions do we need to put guys. I think that's going to be another big question for us. A guy maybe that played corner, maybe a safety for us. A guy that played safety, maybe even sliding down to an outside backer. That's just an example. So I think those are things that are going to be interesting to see how these guys pan out.
You had some late staff shuffling. How do you approach a situation like that? And have you ever experienced something like that before in your career?
Yes, we experienced it. For me, I've always been a type of head coach to not ever want to hold anybody back, really. We had guys get some opportunities. Gasparotto had an opportunity to go call defenses, and he's never had that in his career, and he wanted that opportunity to have that experience. And I was like, man, go for it. I think Coach Manning had an opportunity. He's more of the highest paid position coach in the NFL. Had a great opportunity, and he felt like that's where he wanted to go. I was like, man, we're not going to hold you back. I always tell our guys everybody's replaceable, and we're going to bring guys in just as good, if not better, than what the guy that left. But I also think as a coach, if you're always replaceable, you're going to work hard, because if you slip a little bit, somebody's going to take your spot. there's always guys out there that want these jobs, you know. And the worst thing for me is whenever that happens and my phone doesn't stop ringing. You know, everybody's calling, everybody's trying to get in, and this is a great job here. You know, we've got some great positions here for guys to come in here and coach, and I felt like we've added some great coaches. You know, and guys that I know. You know, that have been around and done some great things. Coach Fuke, that was at Georgia State, calling defenses. He's called defense the last 10 years. I mean, it's some great experience coming in there to help Coach Brown and his staff. And Coach Glenn was with me at App State. We won 3 national championships, beating, you know, Michigan 07. I mean, it's a very innovative thinker, great on game day. So excited to have him to be a part of our staff. You know, so, yeah, I think I look at it as guys that they have opportunities. And, you know, here's the other thing I always think. If guys on our staffs throughout the years are getting sought after, we got the right ones. You know, if you got a staff that nobody ever comes after, you know, that's not healthy. And so there's a fine line there, but I'm happy for the opportunities guys they have for themselves.
Do you handle that like an AD where you have the 5-10 names in your desk drawer, or is there like a secret coaching board where you have, if not this, we'll go here, we'll go there?
Yeah, I mean, we've always got names and guys that I've come across and coached with over the years. You know, I'm always also looking at the young guys because I love the young guys that have worked their way up. They're always eager, they're hungry, and they're talented, you know, to be able to bring in on staff. But I also look at, all right, what do we need for this coach at this particular time? And you know, because I want a bunch of different style of coaches. You know, you don't want just a bunch of, you know, cerebral coaches or yellers or, you know, motivate. You want a bunch of different kind of guys to have a good mix on your coaching staff. And so I always look at that as well. So whenever somebody does leave, I'm looking at what do we need to fill, what, you know, void do we have on this staff that we need to be able to fill. You know, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. Nice hat, by the way, Bull City.
I just looked down and saw, I didn't know you were from Durham.
Oh, yeah.
I like minor league baseball. Speaking of baseball, I guess your 2 guys are sticking with football after yesterday, Dante and Mason.
After what I saw, 100%. They have no shot at doing anything throwing wise. It was not very good.
Do you are you ever shocked at how many Appalachian State guys are in coaching? It feels like they're everywhere.
There's a lot, you know, and when Manny was here, you know, there's a Mountain Union. There's a ton of Mountain Union guys that are out there coaching as well, you know, but very similar programs. You know, one's a D3 level, and we were at 1AA or FCS, and now Division I at App State. But very similar programs in the fact of they had a lot of coaches, legendary coaches that were there for many years that put out a lot of guys. You know, the thing about those 2 coaches, those 2 programs, was that if you played in that program, you want to be like that guy. And so I just felt like, you know, a lot of guys that wanted to coach because they wanted to be like that guy in the way that they made people feel. And so both of those programs have put out a ton of coaches, and I'm proud to be one of those guys at App State, and I think a lot of really good coaches too. So it's awesome for me to be able to see that.
You talked about Coach Glenn and Coach Nate there. Just talk about Coach Braswell and what he brings to the table. Obviously, he's coached at all different levels, high school, college.
Yeah, one thing I love high school coaches. Coach Braz was a high school coach, head coach in Georgia, Tennessee, and we were able to. He used to come over there all the time and just, you know, clinic with us and watch practice and talk ball. We hired him at Louisville as a quality control and analyst there. I did a phenomenal job, and then got an opportunity to go to App State and coach there as well. And then he's been in Army for the last couple of years. Great recruiter. He's awesome with the kids. And a really good staff guy. And so, you know, to me, he's one of those young, you know, he's hungry. He wanted to get in the college game after being in high school so long. The reason why I like high school coaches is because those guys have to do everything. You're a high school head coach. I mean, you're washing laundry, you're lining the fields, you're dealing with parents, and obviously you got to be able to coach, and you got to deal with all the different personalities of a high school team. And now he's got one position group. It's a lot easier, you know, but he's already had to deal with all those things as a head high school coach. So he's got the experience in college now, and I think that was the one thing that, as you know, I thought was lacking when we first got into college, and now he's been in here, you know, college now for 5 years, and so, you know, he's ready. He's ready to be here with us and help us compete for championships.
With Coach Glenn coming in so late in the process, how important was his past knowledge, understanding of kind of your offense coming in?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it, you know, but I haven't worked with Brad. I think the last time was 2008, you know, so it's feel like it wasn't that long ago, but that was a long time ago. But a lot of the terminology that we used back then, we're still having some of the same things that we're using now. And then along the way, we've added some things. He's added some things. And I think, now, you come in and he picks right up where he left off, 15 years ago, really. When we used to call it this, now we're calling it that. Really it's terminology. It's little bitty coaching details that he's going over. I know what he brings to the table. I know how his demeanor is. I know how he's going to interact with the student athletes, with the staff. I know what I'm getting in that. He's an awesome dad, father, husband. I know the full person, and I think as sometimes when you're going to hire people, if you go outside of maybe some of the people that you don't really truly know what you're getting at times. And so I've coached with some guys that had some great resumes and didn't really fit well with our staff. And so those some of the things that you weigh. You have to weigh that whole thing out. But Brad brings a lot to the table here, and he'll make us a better offense.
Are you a guy that's done much tinkering, moving offensive guys to defense, defensive guys to offense? I know probably not this spring because you're just getting settled, but do you have a lot of that in your past?
And sometimes maybe not the opposite side of the ball, but maybe a different position on the side they're on. We do that a lot, and we'll do that in the spring. There'll be guys that on defense will learn 3 different spots, and offensively, there's a guy maybe a wide out. Does he need to be more close to the ball as a tight end? That kind of thing. We've done it, and we have done some things across the ball as well. We'll see how it goes. That's the one thing we're interested in to see. We want to try to put our players in the best position to make plays wherever that position is. And sometimes guys are reluctant to move, but also once they do, then their career starts taking off. So a little bit of convincing there sometimes, but I really just want to put the guys in the best place to make plays where they can help our team.
Looking at the quarterback and Malik Cunningham and how much of a part he was of your offenses at Louisville, is that what you're striving for here with whoever the starting quarterback is going to be, being a big part of the offense?
Well, yeah, the quarterback better be a big part of your offense or you don't have a very good offense. So whatever the talent is that quarterback possesses, that's what we want to utilize. And we don't have anybody here that can run like Malik. He was different in that regard. But also, some of these guys have a different skill set sitting in the pocket making throws. So, it's going to be interesting to see, all right, what can they do? What do they do well? And how do we need to cater our offense to fit the talent that they have? And that's going to be an interesting room to watch. There's some guys that can do it, some talented players in that room. They're great to work with. They're all eager to learn, eager to get better. It's been fun to watch them in the last month. So I'm anxious to go out there and really see how much they can absorb and take in. And then once the whistle's blown, how well do they make decisions? Because as a quarterback, it's got to be split-second decision-making, pre-snap, post-snap, in RPO game. So it's going to be interesting. That's going to be fun to watch.
A lot of transfers here, but the 3 that you're very familiar with, Dorian Jones and Luke Kandra and D. Wiggins, is it safe to say they might have a leg up? They're guys that you know a lot about.
Yeah, I think they have a leg up, because they know our system. They've been in it. They've performed at a high level in it. They've all, played a bunch for us at Louisville at a high level. So I would say they do have a leg up, by coming in just for that regard, just terminology and knowing what to do. But they're all 3 also, really, really good people. And they're coming in here to help us compete and win. And so they'll be great teammates and they'll help the other guys. They'll try to teach them, and that's what we want. I love it when our players teach the other players. They'll be a part of that. But I know what they can do on the field. They can play. They'll help our team. And I'd also think they're going to help the players around them to elevate their game as well.
Are you still using the "hello, my name is" tag in the wide receiver room? How difficult is it going to be to get that room up to speed quickly this spring?
That's going to be probably the most challenging position that we have on the roster. We lost, I think, 7 to the portal, 2 to the NFL. We signed 2. I think we brought in 3 transfers, and we're still looking for more, in that room. So we don't have a lot of experience there, the guys that have played. D. Wiggins, has played a bunch in his career. It's going to be interesting, to see who can help us in that group, and then what we need to try to go out and get after the spring to really solidify that room. I like to have 11 guys on scholarship in that room. We're not there yet. You don't play that many, but you want to have that in scholarship wise. So that's the room we got to do the most work in.
Has Chris Scott been an asset there as a guy that's played?
He's looked good. He's looked good. He's the only one that coming back off the team from last year. I don't even know how many catches he had. Not many, but he's bringing a little bit of experience. But he's looked good. He's done some good things. He's been a good leader for us. He should be a contributor on special teams and all that. But as far as the wide receiver room goes, I anticipate him playing and being a part of that. And and so then we'll see who else can come in and make their mark. But Barry Jackson's a guy, he's a true freshman that came in. He's looked good so far. I think he can potentially help, and some of the other transfers that we brought in. So yeah, that room to me is going to be the most interesting.
Helton's been dinged up before. Is this something that he can come back come August?
I don't think so. I think he's dealing with more of a hip injury that he had prior to coming here. It'll be something that we'll evaluate. At the end of this semester to kind of see where we're at. It's not looking good at this point, but we'll see where it's at. Right now, he's going to be helping us coach this spring, and he's got a great attitude about it. He's fun to be around, and so he's just going to help the guys in that room to do the best they can do.
Shimon flashed last season in the spring game. What are your expectations for him heading forward? Obviously, you lose Lenny and Josh to the NFL. What are your expectations for a guy like Shimon?
Watching him run around, he's got great size and he's got some twitch. He's quick. He does have some top end as well. He's coming off a shoulder surgery that he had in the off season. So how limited he is, that's going to be a question mark. I don't know if we're going to get a 100% full back this spring. He'll be able to do individual routes on air, some 7-on-7 stuff like that. But because I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think he's got a big upside, and because he can catch the football. He's close to 260 pounds, and he can run. And so the thing that we won't find out about is the blocking aspect within that tight end room for him, just because of his shoulder. But he's on schedule to come back, and we'll evaluate him more in a few weeks, see where he's at.
You mentioned every position kind of being up for grabs. You haven't seen most of these guys on the field. Do you go into it with maybe a hierarchy in your mind of what the depth chart might look like, or are you completely wide open?
No, we don't. We really don't have starters or backups. We just call them like group. Group 1, you're up. Group 2, you're up. Because we don't know. We really don't know. And I really had told our staff, I don't want any preconceived notions. I really don't care what anybody's done in the past. I want them to come in with a clean slate, and if you started here before, Briggs, for example, then let's go prove it again, And I think it kind of rejuvenates the older guys. It kind of makes them step it up and say, all right, let's go. I got to prove myself again. These guys don't know what I can do. Let me show them what I can do. And I look forward to that, And I think I know what they're going to do, but I look forward to seeing that. But it also takes a guy who maybe was a young guy last year, maybe didn't play a whole lot, to say, man, I'm going to get a fair shot here. Let me go see what I can do. So I think what it does, you get 100% everybody, and that in turn is going to make everybody better and elevate their game. And then the cream will rise up. And but we do have a little bit different scheme defense. We do have a little bit different on offense. So how they fit within our scheme will be something that will determine who's the best for that as well.
Couple more for Coach.
What's it mean to have the talent and experience of Dante, Mason Fletcher, and Ben Bryant back with so much turnover this offseason on the roster?
It's huge. Anytime you can get some guys back that have performed at a high level, that is big time for us. And I feel like we don't have a ton of those guys, that are coming back that play like that. But the ones that we do have, man, we're excited they're back and they're here, because you can't put a price on experience. They've gone out and they've played in big games with the lights on, the people in the stadium, on TV. There's something to be said for that and that experience. And so, we lean on those type guys. We lean on them to come in and know how to do it. They know how they want a bunch of football games, being the way they are. So.
You, obviously, there's a lot on-field stuff that you guys are looking at and evaluating. How do you handle the cultural aspect? Being a new coach, new staff with obviously a lot of guys who were recruited under the previous staff. What's your process there in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, we're going out here and we're treating these guys as if we recruit them like they're our own. Like I mean, they are. They're us. These are our guys, and so we're going to pour everything we have into these guys and give them everything that we have, and we want to get that in return from them, and then we'll see who's going to end up playing. We're pouring for each and every one of you guys to be the best that you can possibly be. And we'll see who we end up trotting out there to play. We got 15 practices right here. We're not playing a game this spring. We'll save that for the fall. But let's see how good we can get. Let's take it one day at a time, and get as good as we can get fundamentally, understanding the scheme. And then at the end of this thing, after we go through the next summer, then we'll figure out all right who's going to be our guys.
You didn't really have well, last year it wasn't you, but there wasn't really a back that separated like Jerome Ford from the previous year. Do you see one of the guys doing that this year, including the new ones?
I don't know. We'll see. The thing about running backs is it doesn't matter what they look like right now. Who can break tackles? Who can make a guy miss in space? Who can hold on to the football? Who can protect in third down when you need to protect? Those are things you can't tell until you put the pads on and you start scrimmaging, and then being able to see and make a cut inside the tackle box. Those are the things that you just don't know until you start putting the ball down and we're playing real football. So we'll have to go a few weeks before we can answer a little bit of that question.
Any more questions? Thanks, Coach.
All right.